It's a country in South Asia and is located around here in the world map. And the capital of India is New Delhi. Its government is a constitutional republic that represents a highly diverse population consisting of thousands of ethnic groups and likely hundreds of languages. India has been a federal republic since 1950, governed through a democratic parliamentary system. India's population grew from 361 million to almost 1.4 billion in 2022. With roughly 1/6 of the world's total population, India is the second most populous country after China. India uses Indian rupee (INR) as their currency to exchange goods and services, and for the current rate, Indian rupee against USD is equal to 82.08 rupee per 1 USD.
Indian rupee in INR is the official currency in the Republic of India. The issuance of the currency is controlled and managed by the Reserve Bank of India. The origin of the word rupee is from Sanskrit word rupiah, which means shape, stamp, impressed coin, and also means silver, and issued by Sher Shah Suri in 1540 until 1545. So, this is the first Indian coins by the Mahajapandas, the Republic Kingdom of Asian India. This coin has irregular shape, standard weight, and are made up of silver with different marking. So, meanwhile, this is the paper currency that Bengal Bank became the first bank in India to issue paper currency.
The top export of India are refined petroleum, diamond, medical supplies, jewelry, and rice. India exporting mostly to United States, United Arab Emirates, China, Bangladesh, and Hong Kong. Meanwhile, the top import of India are crude petroleum, gold, coal briquettes, diamonds, and petroleum gas. India importing mostly from China, United Arab Emirates, United States, Switzerland, and Saudi Arabia.
According to World and CEN 2005, study found that the real effective exchange rate is co-integrated with the level of capital flows, volatility of the flows, high-powered money, current account surplus, and government expenditure.
After gaining independence, India followed the par value system of the IMF. The exchange rupee, historically linked to pound sterling, was fixed and remained unchanged up to June 1966. It remained constant till 1971 when the suspension of the convertibility of the US dollar brought the era of Bretton Woods to the end. Following the breakdown of the Bretton Woods system, there was a downward pressure on the pound sterling, major international currencies that lead to misalignment of the rupee versus other currencies. Furthermore, the historical importance of the United Kingdom in India's trade had declined over the years.
This is the gross domestic product graph in India. The graph had shown the result of increasing throughout these 35 years, and it is still expected to increase in the future. In broad terms, an increase in real GDP is interpreted as a sign that the economy is in the right track. Hence, it can be seen that India's economy is doing well throughout these years. Next, the lending interest rates graph in India is decreasing from 1988 until 2022. According to the World Bank data, lending interest rate in India was reported at 8.57% in 2022. The reduction of lending interest rate leads to the depreciation of Indian rupee against US dollar.
Next factor is the inflation. From the graph, we can see that in a year between 1990 till 1998, the inflation rate are rising at high level compared to other years. A high level of inflation for a long time can adversely influence the economic situation. As India is a country that produces agricultural products, currency depreciation increases net export and increases the cost of production.
This is the graph of export goods and services in India, and the trend line is also increasing. The export value was reported at 759 billion USD in 2022. This indicates that India have a healthy economy and have a sustainable trade surplus or deficit. The statistics show import of goods and services in India from 1988 to 2022. It represents the value of all goods and other market services received from the rest of the world. The trend line is increasing throughout these 35 years. In 2022, the import goods and services in India was reported at 911 billion USD. It can be seen that India's economy is doing well until now.
So, this is the descriptive statistic of India for 35 years. Based on the descriptive statistic on determinants of the exchange rate, the table shows the highest mean is gross domestic product while the lowest is inflation, consumer prices, which is 7.25%. Furthermore, the table shows the highest standard deviation, which is gross domestic product, while the lowest is lending interest rate amounted 2.92%.
The correlation which has a value that must fall between -1 and +1 is computed. Since it has positive linear, the value of GDP, interest rate, inflation, export and import has a perfect margin since the value is 1. According to the table, the value of export, import and the GDP related to exchange rate are correlated to a value of 0.88, 0.86 and 0.9 respectively. Without considering the exchange rate for India, the lending interest rate is negative by 0.9 and inflation consumer price also negative by 0.48. We can infer from an increase in real interest rate increasing the value of India.
Next, I will continue with the coefficient. The dependent variables in determining the coefficients of the influence factor is official exchange rates. Based on the p-value, GDP, inflation rates, export and import are not significant variables in explaining the exchange rate in India because the value is greater than 0.05, thus rejecting the null hypothesis. Meanwhile, only lending interest rates are relevant to the dependent variable since the p-value is lower than 0.05, making it fail to reject H null.
The last one is ANOVA. The p-value for the f-test is equal to 2.51, which is higher than 0.05. Therefore, it is failed to reject the null hypothesis. This means that the GDP, lending interest rate, inflation, consumer price, export and import of goods and services is statistically insignificant variable in explaining the variation of the exchange rate of Indian rupee. In conclusion, the study analyzed that the factor affecting exchange rate of India has effect by lending interest rate, inflation, consumer price, export and import of goods and services. In India, exchange rate has been volatile due to the factors. It states that foreign direct investment has the impact the exchange rate fluctuation, but influential interest rate has short-term relationship with the exterior in India.